Hello again. The accusation is sometimes levelled at me that I am simply a moany old man who is always muttering about what a dreadful state the country is in, without offering any practical advice as to be what might be done to remedy the situation which so many of us deplore. This is not really true, but I can see why it sometimes sounds as though I do nothing but complain about the good old days. There are many things which can be done, but to be effective, this would require lots of people to do them within a short space of time. You see, all politicians, newspapers, commercial companies, and public bodies receive strange letters from time to time, often written in green ink, from people who complain that the Queen is a giant lizard, or that the colours are taking over the country, or aliens are communicating with them telepathically, that sort of thing. Because such communications are weird, badly spelt, and only arrive intermittently, they're usually ignored. It is quite a different matter when thousands of people complain about something in an articulate fashion and back up their concerns with things such as freedom of information requests and so on. If enough people are obviously concerned about something and act in concert, then there's a good chance that notice will be taken of what they're saying. I have already explained before why I do not think that fringe groups or new political parties are going to do the trick. In the first place, few people will vote for them at parliamentary elections, preferring to have a Conservative or Labour MP. And secondly, when such groups manage to get councillors elected at a local level, as happened with the British National Party a few years ago, those people simply do not understand how council meetings work or about the machinery of local government. I think that route is a blind alley. I gave an example this morning of a practical course of action which could be taken if people really don't like what they see happening. So, in the case of lawyers acting to frustrate the deportation of illegal immigrants, something about which many of us feel strongly, I asked firstly, who is paying for this? Of course, some of the usual suspects in the comments suggested it was the Jews. A few people named Georg Soros, for instance, and hinted at a sinister conspiracy. Anybody writing a letter of that sort, and it will soon be chucked in the bin by the recipient. The truth is, as I explained, that the charities involved in these actions are funded by grant-making bodies such as the Joseph Rowntree Foundation, Esme Fairbairn and so on. It is easy enough to find this information by looking at the accounts which charities are legally obliged to submit each year to the Charities Commission. I wonder what the effect would be if the Rowntree Foundation were to receive 5,000 articulate and well-reasoned objections to their funding Detention Action, one of the two charities launching legal actions against the deportations to Rwanda. Has anybody actually taken the trouble to read the aims and objectives of Detention Action, as stated to the Charities Commission when they applied for charitable status? What would be the reaction of the Charities Commission if they received 5,000 letters pointing this out and calling for an investigation? What about the ratio of money spent on staff costs set against the amount spent directly in the charitable aims that Detention Action claims to be pursuing? Is there any imbalance there? Does it look as though the charity is really being run in order to provide jobs for a dozen highly educated people who can then hope this will lead to other lucrative roles with Liberty or something? Is that something the Charity Commission might be interested in? In other words, if people don't like to see lawyers taking legal action on spurious human rights grounds to stop us removing illegal immigrants from this country, we can actually do something about it. We're not helpless at all. If we simply rave about the Jews and so on, everybody will ignore us or tap their foreheads meaningfully as soon as we turn our backs. This is because the Jews have nothing to do with the case, It is grant-making bodies founded by Quakers which are the problem here. Anybody ever heard the saying, follow the money? Does that ring any bells? What do viewers think that the reaction of newspapers might be if they were to hear about a sensible campaign being conducted in this way? Not by people who hate Jews or black people, but rather by a group of men and women who feel that the rule of law should be paramount, and that since illegal immigration is illegal, then there's no reason not to deport those guilty of it. This is just one small instance of what could be achieved regarding one minor aspect of the things which have been discussed on this channel in the past. It is not yet too late for such action, but the window of opportunity is closing. I can think of a dozen other ways in which ordinary people could make a difference and bring this business into the light of day and tackle it. Of course, on the other hand, it is possible to sit at home and just type furious messages which suggest that some wealthy Jew is financing all this, rather than two Quakers who died many years ago. That would not only be mad and untruthful, it would be counterproductive and ensure that nobody listened to anything you had to say on any subject at all.